Hi Sangeeta. Hi Ramanand. Hi Prasanna.
Hi, Vinod.
Video's on, everybody.
Hi Lawrence. Lawrence, where are you?
Yeah, I've been calling Lawrence. I think he's taking a food break.
Hi Avinash. Hi Aaron.
Abhijit, put your video on. Say hello to everyone.
Wait a second. It's raining cats and dogs here. Hi, everyone.
Yes, hi.
Chalo, we only have 1 minute now.
The issue will start in
Sorry.
minutes from now. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the panelists to join.
Let's see. Yeah, panelists have to join.
So we're waiting for like.
Yeah, I'll
The
confirm that.
panelists to join.
Okay.
Wait.
So
I'm
5
going to
minutes
mute
more.
everyone.
I can see two of them, not one. I can see only one.
Hi, Nancy.
Good evening, Nancy.
Hello, Amrit.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Lawrence. Nice to see you.
You have been calling me all the time.
Yes.
Lawrence, I also called.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yes.
Oh, Vinod.
Hi, Namrita. There are so many new people who've joined in. People, please put your videos on and say hello to everybody else.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Hello, everyone. All I could see was Amrit eating something.
Yeah, and then she is not sharing
Hi
it.
Ranjini.
Yes, exactly.
Hi
Hello.
Namrata.
Evening snacks
Hi,
time.
Ranjini.
Hi Nancy.
Hi.
Good evening,
Lovely
everybody.
to
Oh,
meet
hello,
everyone.
everybody in the same platform.
Ranjini, you have a plain background
Yes.
today.
Devashi, you can start in 30
Yes.
seconds from now.
So that means I can put that
Okay.
flag background. Let me try.
Yes.
Yeah, let me try.
All right, so in the interest of time, we're going to get started. It's already 4:51. Devashi, over to you. Devashi, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm on mute. Well, please spotlight me, Ishan.
I'll do that.
All right. With this face, you're welcome to the judges training workshop. Now, in real life, if you notice, we all tell to each other, "Don't judge people. Don't judge me. Don't judge them. Don't judge. Don't judge." But in Toastmasters, we are always on the lookout for new champions. But those new champions, they come out after a thorough judgment process, and that judgment process we all will learn today. So this is a very, very important session. Now, since this is a one of a kind of session where we will all observe and learn, so your participation would be there, but it won't be in terms of speaking. So there are only few Zoom instructions. So I'm Devashish, and I'll be your Zoom master. You will always be muted, so that goes without saying. But in this session, please keep your videos off after the session starts. So this is a humble request. Please keep your video off so that only the speakers have their video on. And this is not only it is not only a requirement, just like for the convenience of this side, of the role bearers, but this will also be convenient for you, because they will always, you would only see those who matter. Of course, everyone matters, but today all the speakers. Okay, and so chat with any co-host whenever you want. Of course, that's a available for you. And there will be times where, there will be question and answer sessions, and you are welcome to chat, for everyone, the option where you can chat with everyone. Now, there are two kind of views. One is gallery view, one is speaker view. Now, today is a special day, so there is a one request I'll tell you. So, you could just be on gallery view sometimes, because there will be a panel discussion today. So there will be 3 or 4 people on the screen. So at that time, this is my humble request. And this, maybe if I get a chance, I'll repeat this at that time as well. There is an option to hide non-video participants. So on a PC, if you're there, you can go to your screen. I know, there's a small window on the gallery view where you see there is a blue, three dots just besides mute. And then you get an option of, hiding non-video participants, and you can also hide self-view. But if you're on a phone, then you get those 3 dots in the phone as well. You can click on that, and then you can click non-video participants. So if you make sure that you don't see any non-video participants, then the pictures will be big of the people who will be speaking, and that panel discussion that we have in store for you, it will be a pleasure. That it will be a pleasurable experience for you. So nothing much. Few simple things. Please keep your video off. There will be a time when we'll request your video to be on, so that we can click the picture and everyone will show their smiling faces. So that time will come. Now, with that, I'll be welcoming. So this is a privilege to welcome the Master of Ceremonies, the MOC Toastmaster Kavita Kannan. Now, she's a lawyer by career, entrepreneur by chance, and a Toastmaster by choice. So she's already spotlighted, but let me introduce first, and then she'll speak. Okay, then I'm on spotlight again. I'm so even that would have been okay. So she runs a study cafe, and she's connected with the next generation and tries to bring difference in their lives through her words while serving dishes with affection. Oh my, well, that's a good cafe to be in. She started her Toastmaster journey as a universal buddy, then took up the secretary role for a year, and today she's the area director of M3. She's always up to face challenges heads on, and she's always ready to work with collaboration to achieve results. Well, this sentence more, it sounds more like a job interview kind of thing. I'm sorry, but yeah. So she will be the Master of Ceremonies. This is her day. She'll be very busy today, and we'll see her more. So all the best, and over to you, Kavita.
Thank you, Devashish, for laying the ground rules. And with that, I welcome each and everybody today for the contest judging workshop, which is hosted by the divisions B, S, and M. Let me start with the district mission. The district mission says, we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Now, why are we gathered today? Let me say a small background. See, speech contests are an important and interesting part of Toastmasters, the educational program here. It provides not only the speaking experience, but also a learning experience for both, for the speakers and for non-speakers who are going to be observing their proficiency. So it becomes very vital that the judging is done at the contest very fairly and the right choice is made. And to ensure this, with that same motive, we have gathered here for the contest judging workshop. This workshop is divided into 2 parts. The first part, we have a symposium where the district evaluation champions from 3 different districts are all set to share their experiences of championship. Why a panel? See, what we thought was it would be nice if we have people who have won the championship share their journey with us, say how from the club to the area to the division to the district, their journey of preparing themselves to achieve that trophy. How was it done? If we have some tidbits from that, that would help us, the new Toastmasters, as well as the Toastmasters who are aiming to achieve this goal this year. Second part is going to be the judges training workshop, for which again we have a District 982 Chief Judge who is going to come and give us some inputs and insights about this. Before I call upon the, I'm sorry. After hearing this, I'm very sure you don't want to see me more on the screen. So without much ado, let me invite the panel moderator for the first session who will be conducting it. Who is he? He is an HR professional who started his Toastmasters journey in 2009 as member of Bombay Toastmasters. And he went ahead to become the founder president of Mahindra Toastmasters in 2010. He has been an area governor in 2011. In 2019, when he came back, he was instrumental in chartering the Ultra Tech Toastmasters and is currently the president of that club. Help me welcome the co-convener of this event, who is also serving as the Area S1 Director. With virtual applause, please welcome Toastmaster Falgunan. I invite him to take over the stage for the Symposium 1 with the district champions. Over to you. Falgunan? Yeah.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you, thank you. There was a network issue. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Champions are made from something they have deep inside of them. A desire, a dream, a vision. Mahatma Gandhi said this. Dear Toastmasters and guests, we have with us today 3 such champions who had a deep desire, dream, and a vision to be the champions of the district. We are also aware that every champion was once a contender that refused to give up. Today's panel discussion is aimed to demystify the secrets of winning a speech contest, a speech evaluation contest, right from a club level to the district level. And let us take back those insights on what goes behind to be a champion. Hope all of you have your pens and your notes ready. Great. The 3 champions were the district evaluation champions for 2019-20 in their respective districts. First, we have with us Toastmaster Priya Chapagan, who is the District 41 Evaluation Champion. She's a VP membership at Kusum Toastmasters Club, Associate Program Quality Director at Area N3, Editor-in-Chief, Division N. Professionally, she's working as a business account manager at Grepser. Her hobbies involves reading novels, dancing, and watching movies. Let's welcome Toastmaster Priya with a virtual clap. Welcome, Toastmaster Priya. Next, we have with us Distinguished Toastmaster Hisham Jeffrey, District 20 Evaluation Champion. Hisham has been a Toastmaster for 6 years and is the immediate past president of the Sri Lanka Club Symposium Toastmasters, the 3rd oldest club in Bahrain. He has been a professional trainer, mentor, and coach for the last 17 years, training clients in Sri Lanka, Bahrain, Dubai, Jordan, Kuwait, and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Distinguished Toastmaster Hisham is a Triple Crown winner, District 20 runner-up for humorous speech as well in 2019-20. Let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster Hisham Jeffrey with a virtual clap. Next, we have our own District 98 evaluation champion, Toastmaster Nikhil Halvalkar. He has been a Toastmaster for over 4 years, and he is a VPPR for Sipla Toastmasters Club. In the past, he has been a VP membership for Mullen Toastmasters Club, Advanced Club, and also a treasurer. He was a Division M champion in International Speech Contest 2018. He is a qualified chartered accountant, law graduate, and an MBA from IIM Bangalore. His hobbies include solving puzzles and continuous learning. Let's welcome Toastmaster Nikhil with a virtual clap. We have this power-packed panel to share their wisdom with all of us. So let me begin with Toastmaster Priya. Please share with us your journey of being an evaluator, to a club winner, and finally, District 41 evaluation champion.
Thank you, Toastmaster Falgunen. And first of all, hello, everyone. I'm Toastmaster Priya from Area N3, all the way from Nepal. It's a pleasure to be talking to you all. Regarding my Toastmaster's journey in the evaluation contest, I became a Toastmaster only a year ago. It was in May of 2019 when I joined Toastmasters. And by the time it was September, I was already finding myself taking part in the club evaluation contest. I remember I was so nervous because there were all these other Toastmasters who had been there for so many years, and I was just a newbie who had come out of nowhere, and there I was competing against them. But as I progressed on the journey, I realized it's more of a learning experience than a competition. And it was, I think, when I won the division contest and I realized how big it is that I will be representing my division in the district, and I realized what lies in front of me. After that, there was a lot of self-reflection on what I should be doing, lots of visiting of clubs, lots of going around and trying to make sure that I make this journey as fun as possible, and so that when I look back, no matter the results, no matter I win, no matter I don't win, when I look back, I'm always going to cherish every step that I took. And today I stand here a winner amongst you all, and it has been incredible. It has been extremely self-fulfilling, and of course, to not say the least, extremely, extremely knowledgeable. Over to you.
Wow. Just a 1 year into Toastmaster and you have won the contest, district level contest. Hats off, fabulous.
Thank you.
Now, distinguished Toastmaster Hisham. There are various speech contests available, but you choose speech evaluation contest. What was your journey to select speech evaluation as one?
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Greetings from District 20, Bahrain. It's so nice to be with you. And thanks to Zoom, we are able to connect. And honestly, I don't know if it would have been physically possible, but I'm really thankful to be with you. Greetings from Bahrain. Well, as a rule, I generally compete in all 4 contests. So every year, my main thing is to concentrate and focus on all the 4 contests. So this year, I represented my division at the district contest in the evaluation, the table topic, and the humorous speech contest. Because I believe that if you focus primarily and only on evaluation, to me, I find that I become a little bit tunnel vision. So I always try to focus on all 4 contests and then cross-pollinate between each of them. Because at the end of the day, a great speech would need to have some level of humor, some level of inspiration, and to become better, you've got to evaluate it. And great speeches always have that little bit of spontaneity. But the interesting thing about the evaluation contest was that initially when I joined the club many, many years ago, 6 years ago, my main focus was the international speech contest, because in 2014, my home club brought down the then world champion, Dhananjaya Hettiarachi, for a workshop. And that workshop was what motivated me to actually join the club. Now, I did not know that there were 4 contests. I only knew that there was 1 contest. Now, fortunately, I discovered that there were 4 contests, and it has been my absolute enjoyment to be able to contest, take part in all 4 of these competitions, because I have learned a tremendous amount from all 4 of them. I always tell people the best education you can have is on the contest stage, because what you learn and what you research and what you put there and then you repeat over and over again will stand you in great stead. Because if you look at many of our speeches, we practice a speech, deliver a speech, go to the next speech. But only at the contest do you refine and rehearse and then become better and better. So that's how I ended up in evaluation. Back to you.
Fabulous. Fabulous, Hisham. So you are a generalist and not a specialist. Okay.
That's absolutely right.
People focus on one aspect. I'll master the humorous speech or I'll master the ISC. So you are like jack of all the speeches and I think also the master of one. Fabulous. Okay. Toastmaster Nikhil. Just 4 years into Toastmasters and you are the District 98 evaluation champion, our own district. Is there a crash course to become a champion? If yes, please share with us.
I wish there was a crash course. So many people would have participated in such courses. But I think it is a regular practice thing which helps. I try to attend at least 2 to 3 meetings in a month. And within those meetings, I try to have evaluations a lot. This year, what I did before the contest was I also approached a lot of other clubs because I was getting a bit comfortable with members in my club. I knew their strengths, their weaknesses, how to address them, how to be politically correct with advising them. So I just put myself a little bit outside my comfort zone and tried to do something different. And I honestly would have loved if there were crash courses or anything. Most of my learning has been by observing a lot of people. And I can count the number of incidents where I have learned something new from different evaluators, and I have stolen with pride what good insights and inputs I could get from them and reapplied in my own life. So unfortunately, there is no crash course. It's a continuous learning kind of an engagement.
Great, great Toastmaster, Nikhil. Observing a lot of people and steal with pride from other evaluators and continuous learning are the mantra shared by Toastmaster Nikhil. Great. Now all the Toastmasters and guests, there is a poll coming up for all of you. And the poll question is there a difference in evaluating a regular speech versus evaluating in a contest? Options are yes or no. The poll question will be coming up in the chat. Yeah, it's already come in. Please choose. And thereafter, I would request Toastmaster Hisham to share his views on it after the audience responses come. Wow, interesting. It's going neck to neck.
It's going to be so difficult to answer this question.
Oh.
I don't envy Hisham right now.
Like a table topic.
It's another question. Yeah.
Shall we end the polling?
All right. Yes, I think we can end the polling. I think audience are also confused. So Hisham, they would really definitely like to listen to an expert view. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Hisham.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremony. So it says 55% yes and 45% no. Evaluation is evaluation. It's an interesting dilemma because of this. Now, if you take a normal speech evaluation, each of these speeches will have a specific objective. If you take the icebreaker, it's to introduce yourself to the club, speak about your past, your present, and your future. If you take, for example, the pathways program, and if you take the level 1, the second 2 speeches, it is feedback and evaluation. It is any speech which is looking at evaluation, which is looking at eye contact, presentation, body movements, gestures. So it's got something specific which the evaluator needs to look for, and there's a lot of guidance. Plus, you have a lot of experience that comes from previous speeches. An added advantage is you might actually know the speaker because it may be someone from your club. So that's generally what an evaluation in a club environment looks like. But when you look at the evaluation speech contest, number one, you have the aspect of the test speaker. And most often, if you are a judge, would you pick a test speaker who is known to the speakers? Is very unlikely. And most of the time, chief judges would ask the test speaker to deliver a brand new speech. So when I've been a test speaker, I've been asked to write a brand new speech. So new speaker, new speech. Number 3, there are no objectives of the speech. All that we know is it could be motivational and inspirational. But does it always have to be? It may not be. 2 years ago at the evaluation contest, the evaluation speech was more of a humorous speech, and it completely threw me. The third thing is note taking. So you are given 2 sheets of paper. You are given 5 minutes to do the note taking, and then what happens? The notes are taken away from you, and you only get it just before you go up on stage. Now, even that there could be a twist. 2 years ago, when 2 DTECs ago, when I was speaker number 1, the sergeant at arms conveniently forgot to give me my notes. So I had to do the evaluation on a table topic basis. So things can go wrong. The next difference between what happens in a general speech and a speech evaluation in the contest is the isolation room. So within the isolation room, I don't know about my fellow contestants, but the environment is different. It's very quiet, but you can really feel the tension and the loudness in the room. And a funny thing happened in a couple of DTECs as well. The most nervous person there is the sergeant at arms. Now, the last thing as an evaluation contestant you want is the sergeant at arms trying to chat and trying to calm you down. And then when you go on to the stage, you're walking in completely blind. You don't know what has happened before you, and you don't know, it's very difficult to judge the ambience or the atmosphere of the audience. So these are some of the key things for me, how a contest evaluation differs from a general speech evaluation. And that timing and what you've got to do within that time. Because in a general meeting, we watch the speech, write down our notes, then we take a break, have a coffee, have some eats, come back, you're relaxed, the general evaluator welcomes you, you know everything that's going on. But in an evaluation, it's like running a triathlon. You've got to run a little, swim a little, bike a little. You've got to listen and write. Then you've got to go into that isolation room and get tensed up, and then come and do the best evaluation that you can. So that's it from me. Back to you, Mr. MC.
Wow. I think very clear insights and difference between a regular speech evaluation and a contest evaluation. Yeah. So in a speech evaluation, the project objectives and you're relaxed, whereas in a contest, it's a triathlon. So fabulous. That's a very nicely put up. The time guidelines, the pressure of it, 5 minutes, all of that. Thanks a lot. The next poll coming up for everyone is CRC the go-to technique in a contest? Is CRC, comment, the go-to technique in a contest? Yes or no? Toastmaster Priya, we would like to hear your views after the audience response. So it's tilting towards no. I think we can end the poll. So we can see the results is no. For contest, judges ballot is the most important. That's what 70% of the audience feels. Yes, 20% is telling, and 11% is asking what is CRC. So these are the three responses. Toastmaster Priya, over to you.
CRC is generally, let me address that first. It's comments, recommendations, and then the commendations again. And it is a generally followed way of giving an evaluation, mostly in normal meetings, and even in contests, you can see people following this. It is also something that I do. And to me, I think it is a very effective technique. Giving an evaluation, one of the most difficult tasks is making sure that you find a balance between making sure that you are telling what the speaker is already good at, but also making sure that they don't stay stagnant at the position, but they know what areas they need to work on and they work on that, they improve themselves. But then there's always that issue, what if I become too harsh, or what if I am too critical? And what if the speaker does not feel motivated to come back again? So that is why we're using the sandwich method, where we are sandwiching the recommendations in between the commendations to make sure that the speaker also knows that they have these good qualities already, and working on the recommendations is only going to ensure that they better themselves and they move ahead. That is why I have always found CRC to be an extremely effective method in making sure that I am able to communicate to the speakers. These are the areas that you may want to improve on, but also making sure that they understand that they're already good in so many aspects as a speaker, in terms of their delivery, in terms of content, whatever it be, and making sure that I, again, end my evaluation on the same note, so they're left with that positivity and they're left with that motivation that, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to come back and I'm going to rock this, so that they are stoked about it and not really down that, oh, these are the areas that I'm not really good at. So in my perception, CRC is actually effective and go-to method. But I also do understand that to each person, it's their own, and some people may want to focus on some other techniques or focus more on how they would personally want to put the evaluation together. So I think it's all to their own, but to me, CRC is really effective.
And in a contest, would CRC would be the technique to be followed?
Yeah, I mean, I have always done that. I think I generally go for the CRC. So if you're comfortable with it, then of course, even in contest or regular meetings, CRC may be the way to go.
Thank you very much.
Can I add to that, Falgunan, if you don't mind?
Please, Nikhil.
See, I think we need to differentiate between a judge's ballot and a CRC. CRC could be a subset or a way in which you can do your evaluation. The judge's ballot covers a lot of things: analysis, recommendations, the technique in which you're doing, and CRC could be a good part of the technique. But when you're making recommendations or whether you're pointing out the good things, you can use the CRC template as a way. So I feel somewhere we have to consider CRC as one of the forms in which you can get the good scores on technique. And it's a very effective tool, as Priya said, and I agree with her. And if you're a beginner and you have a ready format in hand, there is nothing as powerful as a CRC. But it also depends upon the speech and the speaker. How do you want to deliver these things? What kind of inputs you have? Does it fit into the CRC? Like, I struggle when I'm evaluating very, very good speakers. I sometimes challenge myself, and what Hisham mentioned, I repeatedly see Dhananjay Hittaraj's speech and think, as an evaluator, what feedback I can give. And I can't find anything as a CRC method could be applicable over there. So I have to modify and approach my way. So I would just say that I agree with Priya fully, but consider CRC as a subset of the judge's ballot. Because if you are going to prepare for contests, your best friend is your judge's ballot, not your own comfortable way of evaluation or the CRC. You have to be utmost friends with the judge's ballot. I just wanted to add that to what Priya already said.
Thanks, Nikhil, for that. value add, really useful input. And Nikhil would like to understand one more thing. Which was your worst evaluation? And what are
Okay.
your learnings from that?
Okay. So some minutes back, Hisham spoke about how he participates in all the contests and it helps him improve myself. And I share his enthusiasm in learning about this. So last year, I was the division champion in case of evaluation speeches. And there was a lady from Goa, Master Radha, who emerged as a winner at a division level. I was a runner-up over there. And I gave this beautiful evaluation. My teams were like clapping and everything, like every club will do. But I missed out a point. I didn't focus on the voice modulation part of the speaker. Whereas Toastmaster Radha from Goa, she gave a beautiful example. She gave a recommendation on how to do voice modulation. And when I sat down with my team and I was just trying to compare, because Radha had gone before me, I didn't know what she had said. But they told me clearly that she spoke on voice modulation and I did not. When I spoke to my mentor about this and when I reflected on it, I realized that I myself had so much to learn on voice modulation that I couldn't realize that a speaker also needs to improve on this, or it is a weakness of the speaker. So inherently, my weakness, I was unable to find that weakness in a speaker. And this is where I understood the importance of evaluation. So I felt somewhere like I did everything right, but this was one of my worst evaluation because I couldn't realize the weakness of the speaker because I shared the same weakness. And it helped me improve myself, push forth. And my learning from this was, let's not have blind spots. Let's not try to ignore where you need to improve upon and be more cautious when the speaker is committing those things. And when you make recommendations for your own blind spots, you are spot on and very heartfelt recommendations goes. So that was my learning from one of the worst evaluations I had done at a division level.
Wow, but fabulous sharing, Nikhil. I think it's a great learning that every time we make a mistake, there is lots to learn from that. And you got a personal insight of voice modulation being so important and the blind spot. So I think it's a very important lesson for all of us. Be aware of our blind spots and work on it to succeed. Thanks.
If I can add something, Toastmaster Falgunan?
Please, Toastmaster session.
So initially, when I started off with the evaluations, I'm from a finance background and my background is audit and analysis. So I used to like the A in the judge's ballot and I used to fall in love with the analysis part, conveniently forgetting that there is recommendations. So for a good 2 years, I was giving evaluations and not focusing too much on the recommendations. And those people used to come and tell me, where are the recommendations? And I used to tell them, look, I'm giving you such a beautiful analysis, but you want these recommendations. So it took me a long while to realize, no, a good evaluation has to have recommendations as well. So that's something that happened to me. Back to you, Toastmaster Palvi.
Thanks for sharing that, Toastmaster. There's a question for you, Toastmaster. Do you remember some evaluation that you did and it made a big difference in your life?
Yes, it was actually the very first club evaluation that I did. Now, generally when the evaluations or when the contest season comes around, the VPE and the contest masters are after you to make sure that you will take part. And as I told you, my main interest was only in the international speech contest. So the very first evaluation that I ever did in my whole life was at my club evaluation contest. And for some odd reason, I managed to win first place in it. So that the reason that I managed to win was because I had attended an evaluation speech contest workshop delivered by the 2012 district champion, distinguished Toastmaster Ahmed Shukri. And I still have the notes that I took from it. And at that point, I had just joined, and that workshop helped me tremendously to deliver that evaluation. And that evaluation completely changed my focus with regard to the contest, because I spent a tremendous amount of time on the international speech contest. But it was that contest that really opened my eyes to say, look here, there is something else called evaluation, which you can also focus on. So that I always remember. I can almost nostalgically go back there now to the Novotel Hotel at 7:30 in the evening. And that was one evaluation that I really, really remember.
Wow. I think a powerful lesson. So listen to the great winners, speakers, district champion. You listen to him of 2012 and you made notes of it. I hope all the Toastmasters and guests who are there, who are listening to these three champions, are making their own notes to be the champion ahead. Great. So there's a poll coming for all of us. Is there something like a perfect speech evaluation? Is there something like a perfect speech evaluation? Yes or no? And Toastmaster Nikhil, I would request your views on this after the response. Oh, all right. Yeah. So I think the majority, 78%, is selling there is no perfect speech evaluation. Toastmaster Nikhil, your views.
I like the question. Actually, I like the options which were given. It means I saw 15 people with so much pride saying that come to my club if you want to see a perfect evaluation. And I was tempted to do that. But unfortunately, I go with the majority on this one. There is no perfect evaluation. And the reason for it is simple. Every speech is different. The delivery, if the same speaker is delivering the speech again, he will do something to modify and improve that speech. And when you're evaluating a different speech, you will do it differently. But more importantly, rather than perfect speech, there is no good or bad evaluation. It is just a comparison of one evaluation with another. And that's where we need to focus upon what was the intent of the evaluation. Is it really helping the speaker? Is it moving the notch from say 70 to 80 or 80 to 90? And is this helping the evaluator himself express himself better? And that should be the objective of all those evaluations. I wish I could say that I have delivered the most perfect evaluation. I remember a quote which we used in our evaluations that there are three kinds of speeches a speaker gives: a speech which he writes, a speech which he delivers, and a speech he wishes he has delivered. Evaluations is exactly right there. Whatever notes we take down, we have one set of evaluation, one is what we deliver, and then sitting back lazily, we think about, oh, I wish I would have added this point. Oh, I wish I didn't spend so much time on this part. So I would say there is no perfect speech evaluation, but evaluation reflects the importance of pursuit of that excellence, that we are pursuing that excellent speech, that excellent evaluation. And it is in that nature we find ourselves within the boundaries of perfection. I hope that was not full of jargons. It sounded very crazy.
I think very well said. I like the aspect where you said there are three kinds of speeches: one which is written, one which is delivered, and one which we wish we would have delivered. Okay, so I think that was very well articulated. There is something always that is missing, and I think Toastmaster Priya also wants to add something in it.
Yeah, so to answer this question, I think I've always viewed evaluation as an opinion. And the best example of this will be any contest. You have one speaker who delivers the same speech, and there are 6 people who evaluate that speech. But then at the end of the day, everybody's evaluation is different. So much so that somebody might say that one particular aspect of that speech was a good point, and somebody else might keep that same point in points of recommendations. So the important thing to understand about evaluation is that it's an opinion. And because of that aspect of evaluation, I think it can never be perfect, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, it's personal and it's custom to everyone. And that is what makes evaluation so effective.
Wow. Thanks for adding to it, Toastmaster Priya. So evaluation is an opinion, and everyone's evaluation may be different. It's personal and customized. That's the reason there cannot be a perfect evaluation speech. Fabulous. Toastmaster Priya, what was the most memorable experience of evaluations in your Toastmasters journey? Yeah, definitely, apart from winning the district contest.
It was winning the club contest, because there was a very fun incident which happened. I was very new, fairly new, and I had also recently joined my first job, which I really wanted to excel. So I gave my name for the club contest for the club evaluation contest. But on the same day that the club contest was to be held, my boss kept a meeting that I could not, not attend. I had to, anyhow, he told me that I had to be there, and I had to be there till 7 o'clock, and the evaluation contest was at 6. So I remember during the afternoon, I called the contest chair and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't think I'll be able to make it." And I had to cancel my name. But then fortunately at around 5 o'clock, we got a call from the head office saying that the meeting had to be canceled because there were some problems. And I remember rushing out of the office and just making sure that I reached the college in time. I reached, I think, 5 minutes before the contest was to happen. I got there and I filled the forms and I gave the evaluation and I won. And I always look back and think, what if the meeting had not been canceled? What if I had actually never gone to the college and given that evaluation? I would not be here. So whenever I look back at this journey that I've made, I think that's the most memorable thing that pops into my head.
Wow. I think all the cosmic force were aligned to your winning the club contest, to go on to win the district contest. Wow.
Yes, I think so too.
And fellow Toastmasters, the final poll coming up for all of you. And that's an interesting one. Is online contest easier than a physical contest? Is online contest easier than a physical contest? I would like Toastmaster Hisham to have his views, followed by Toastmaster Nikhil and Priya on this particular question once we have the responses. So the audience have said physical. Physical is a preferred mode.
Right. So I have a slightly revolutionary answer to that. See, someone once said, all speaking is public speaking. And I really like this one quote that comes from the 1999 world champion of public speaking, Craig Valentine. He says, don't get ready to speak, stay ready to speak. So whether your platform is online, virtual, under a street lamp, under a staircase, should not matter. Because if you're a speaker and you have something to say, it is our responsibility and duty to say it in the best possible way. Now, yes, we are all here to speak in a physical Toastmasters environment. But if you really look at it, the world is moving at a really rapid pace. If you take the example of Zoom, Zoom has been around for about 10 years. I've used Zoom for a lot of time. But because of COVID-19, Zoom got spotlighted. Now, the world tomorrow is never going to be the same. So how you present yourself in the virtual environment becomes really, really important. See, we come to Toastmasters not to become good at Toastmasters, but to use Toastmasters to become good in the outside world. So although our preferred method is physical, I do understand that. But this particular COVID-19 crisis, and I always like to say this, it has a huge silver lining, because it has accelerated our development really to the next level. What we should have been doing in terms of presenting, in terms of looking at the virtual environment, we've just managed to go to a different level. However, is the virtual environment easier? Absolutely not, because it is now on the contestant to bear the burden of making sure the integrity of your environment is maintained, with regard to the notes, with regard to closing the door, with regard to isolating yourself, with regard to having your hands visible. Every single thing is being noted. And if another contestant has some fidgety thing, the sergeant at arms will jump in and say, don't do this or don't do that, which breaks your thought process. So although something may be better, it doesn't necessarily mean it is easier. Which is my preference? To be honest, it's 50-50. once we are back to the physical meetings, I will really miss the online meetings, especially because of what we are doing right now. I have this tremendous opportunity to meet all of you simply because COVID-19. So because of it, it opens this window to be able to connect with so many different people. But at the same time, we come to be able to speak physically in environments. So therefore, I do understand why majority of the audience would prefer the physical environment as well, which is my preference 50-50. Right now, I absolutely enjoy all of these virtual meetings. But given the chance to impact an audience, would it be physical or virtual? I would say the physical environment would be better. Back to you, Toastmaster Falguni.
Got it. Any small comment to be added by any of the other panel members? Because all three of you have been winners in an online contest. So that's definitely, you've cracked it. You've cracked the code.
Sure. Can I go? Priya, you want to add or
Yes.
shall I go? So I want to tell you a story. Okay.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, long, long ago, I was a law graduate and I had to stand up and make a presentation on some constitutional law, fundamental rights. And I had prepared all night for this. I was very ready for my articulation, the speech, the case laws, everything. But when I stood up and started delivering, I found a lot of people, including two beautiful ladies in the front row, looking at my legs. And I was worried because few months back, one of the professors had his fly open, and for months we had been making fun of this professor, and I was really worried this is happening to me. But actually that was not the case. I was just shit scared standing up and talking in front of people. And both my legs were really shaking. You could almost see them moving from side to side. And that was being noticed by people. And that's one of the incidents in my life where I realized that you need to prepare a lot for your speeches. And when you're in front of people, it's different. You crack a joke, you look into the faces of people, and sometimes there is silence, and you realize the joke is not working. And you need to gather your wits and go on and move on again. You have to look across and try to see who's nodding at you, who is not, whether it is making sense or not. So I always found the physical world much more challenging than the online world. And I feel right now, as Hisham said, it is a silver lining, it is a golden opportunity for people who want to practice public speaking. You don't have to worry about eye contact. You don't have to worry about sometimes standing up. You have a very limited frame in which you can practice your hand movements. And it's a good place to practice public speaking. You're in the comfort of your house, closing the door, isolating yourself. This will help you prepare when you stand up in front of an audience and do it. And these are four different experiences which you need to have. If you use this time to master yourself, get the basics right, you will be much more successful when you do in front of people. We are eventually trying to train ourselves to speak in front of physical people. And the experience is wonderful. Last year, when I was in ISC International Conference, standing in front of 1,000 people, looking at them, from a distance, you don't see their eyes, you don't see the whites of their eyes, but still it intimidates you. And your legs may start squeaking again, and you need to master yourself. So it's a question about how you hold yourself together and master yourself in both this environment. And this environment is a precursor. Every speaker who goes and speaks out in public will practice at home, will deliver his speech, will record it and do it. So we are doing exactly in the online world, which we are doing outside. But the physical world is much more dangerous, and you need to be ready for that. And that's my input for this.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nikhil. Yeah. Priya, I would go into...
Can I add to that?
Yeah, Toastmaster Priya.
I think my answer is going to be different to Toastmaster Nikhil's and DTM Hissam's, even though I completely agree with both of them. I am someone who likes to be in control of everything around me. But with online meeting, there is one problem that so many things are not in your control. I was always worrying, what if my internet connection is unstable, or what if my internet connection goes out, what if the lights go out, or all of these contingencies which can hamper the contest. So that is what causes me to panic. So I am someone who prefers physical meetings or physical contests compared to online ones. Also, another thing is, in a physical contest, I remember during the division contest, I had to walk around 50 paces from the door to the stadium. And while I was doing, sorry, to the podium, and while I was doing that, all of these people, they were just whispering good luck to me, and they were looking at me with bright eyes, and I could just feel that enthusiasm in the air, which further motivated me when I went up on that stage and I looked at everyone's anxious eyes. I think it just boosted my confidence. Whereas in online meetings, or online contests, you just look at yourself, because most of the participants or people, their videos are off, and that scares me further. So I am someone who prefers physical contests to online ones.
Got it. Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. Now we'll have a quick one. We go to the tips section for all the Toastmasters. First to Toastmaster Nikhil. For opening and closing of a speech evaluation in a contest, what would be your tips? Quick.
Okay, so I have quick 3 tips. The first one is about opening. When you're opening your evaluation, the first thing which you need to say is the takeaway, the key message of the speech. You have to start your evaluation with that, because it builds on further on how your analysis has worked, and you've grasped the power of whatever the speaker was communicating. So I would always recommend the first thing you do is start your speech with the takeaway message or the key message which resonates through the speech. The second thing which I would urge people is not to do is don't repeat portions of the speech. A lot of people in the beginning itself start talking about the speech and get into what the speaker has said, and you waste valuable time which you can put in recommendations. And the last point which I want to talk about is the best friend in the evaluation is the timer for you. When the timer flashes the red card, be ready to start with your summary, because summary takes around 15 marks in the judges' ballot. I've seen so many great evaluations fail because people did not summarize and lose those valuable points. So those are my 3 points in summary. 1, start with the takeaway. 2nd, don't open with the narration of the speech. And 3rd, focus on the timer. Thanks.
Fabulous. Great one, Toastmaster Nikhil. Toastmaster Priya, recommendation section. What would be your tips?
I too have 3 tips for the recommendations. The first one is, do not be afraid to state what the obvious areas that the speaker wants to improve on, because I've seen a lot of times evaluators are really scared of really scared of saying what the speaker may want to work on, because they think that it's going to demotivate the speaker. But remember that perfection, if you constantly tell someone that they're perfect, then perfection leaves no room for improvement. You as an evaluator have that responsibility in your hands to make sure that you are making that speaker grow. So be bold and state the obvious. The second is, don't forget the details. I've seen evaluators go up to the stage and just say, I would wish you would work on your facial expressions, and just leave it at that. That gives the speaker nowhere to go. So be specific, tell them the details. What is it that the speaker could have done and how they can do it? Give some practical steps, easy 1 to practical steps that the speaker can do. If you're telling them you may want to work on your vocal variety, tell them what exactly they should have done. Increase the pitch, have depth when they talked about something else. That is going to make sure that the speaker knows exactly what is that step they need to take. And finally, make sure that you're motivating with your words. As an evaluator, you only have 1 task. So make sure that the speaker comes back and gives another speech. So you have to make sure that you're smiling when you're giving the evaluation, and your uses of words, they have to be positive, affirmative, and encouraging. Don't be contemptuous, but make sure that you are telling the speaker what they need to improve on. Be motivating when you do that, and don't forget the details.
Fabulous. Thanks, Toastmaster Priya, for this wonderful insights. And finally, distinguished Toastmaster Kishan, delivering technique. What are your tips on that?
Thank you, Toastmaster Falgunan. So I have 5 things to say, 2 of them dealing with mindset and 2 of them dealing with delivery. So the technique is a critical part of how our recommendations and analysis should be delivered. 2 things that I have heard and that I try to apply in my evaluations are this. And the first one is what our past international president, distinguished Toastmaster Mike Stocky said, remember the member. And that to me is really important, because people come here to get better, not for us to shoot them with a machine gun. So I always try to remember this person is here taking this huge risk as a test speaker, not being evaluated by, as usual, one person, two people, three people, but 6 or even more people. So it's up to me to give value, because 10 words could actually change that person's life. That's number one. Number two is a tip that I got from that workshop that I attended 6 years ago. And it was, what's the purpose of an evaluation? What's the end result? And DTM Muhammad Shukri said that ideally, if you deliver your evaluation well, the minute you sit down, your speaker should be able to stand and deliver that same speech much better than before. So I always try to remember that if I can do something, say something, add something to the speaker, that the minute I sit, the speaker is confident enough to get up and deliver a much better speech, then that I would have done my job. So that's two things I keep telling myself to soften the technique of delivery. In terms of the actual delivery, the first thing that I try to remember is, how would I like to hear this same feedback? Because that tells me, all right, I have something to say, but I'm going to say it. So I am on the upper hand. But what if I was to get this feedback from somebody else? How would I like to hear it? What's the personality of the speaker? Would they like me to give it straight bread and butter, or would they want me to sugarcoat it a little bit? The second one is be practical and solution focused. One thing that we always look at in terms of the analyzing a speech is vocal variety. And sometimes there is this focus on volume because the judges' ballot in the international speech contest says volume. So loudness doesn't necessarily mean vocal variety. So sometimes I've seen evaluators recommend you need to raise your volume to add vocal variety. Now, that's not necessarily helpful, especially in an environment outside Toastmasters. So be practical and give a tip that they can use immediately. So for example, it might be take a deep breath before you go on to your next sentence, or between your sentences, smile, raise your eyebrows, get back, do some gestures so that it allows your mind some time to actually come back with a better vocal variety. And the final one is teach, don't preach, because we are here to learn, and whatever we give as evaluation is what we have been taught by our evaluators before us. So we are here to pass on the baton to the next generation, and not to say I am better than you, you are worse than me. So I always try to tell myself, look here, you are here in this time and place temporarily, but what you say is going to be a permanent value add. So I always try to give something that is practical, and I try to go at it from a teaching mentality rather than from a preaching mentality. So remember the member, when you sit down, your speaker should be able to stand and deliver. What would you like to hear? Be practical and solution focused, and teach, don't preach. Back to you, Toastmaster Falguni.
Wow. Really fabulous insights from all the three panelists. Really, it's so valuable. I can't express in words, but I've captured all of your inputs and insights. Now we open the floor for the Q&A from our Toastmasters. If you would have any questions, kindly put that in the chat box, and we would ask the panelists to answer that. We can take 2 or 3 questions, max. Any questions from any of the Toastmasters?
Either we were very clear or we were very confusing, if there are no questions.
Or they would have got all the answers already. You're very clear. I can definitely say the insights that you shared was fabulous. Okay, there's questions that are coming in, pouring in now. How do you handle a bad speech?
Okay.
Who would like to go for it?
Okay, let me try this. A speech can be bad for various reasons. When we are in club setting, maybe the objectives are not met, maybe something inappropriate is being said, or sometimes the delivery of the speaker is so bad that you feel that the speech is not good enough, it doesn't have content. But we have to understand a couple of things over here. We are not just evaluating a bad speech. We are evaluating a person who has put in his heart and efforts to stand up. And someday you will be in his shoes trying to do the same. So even if you are right that the speech is bad, you have to learn to be kind to the speaker and try to think about how do we elevate him to the next level. So I keep repeating this instance. I learned from one of the Toastmasters in Mulund Toastmasters, Toastmaster Ananthan, and he was doing an evaluation and the speaker froze in 4 minutes. And for next 2 minutes, he was completely blank. There was 2 minutes of awkward long pause. And then he added some sentences and completed in 7 minutes. But when the evaluation started, Toastmaster Ananthan, whom I look up to, he just started his evaluation on that 4 minute of speech. He did not even once refer to that 2 minutes of silence. He did not make it impossible or awkward for the speaker. And that's where I learned that if something like this happened, it is my responsibility to ensure that I motivate the speaker and taking up from the level where he is right now to the next level. And that is what is important. So rather than the good speech, bad speech, evaluate the speaker, try to ascertain at what level he is and how do we bring him to the next level. You remember most of the evaluation has this sentence, if you want to take this speech to the next level, but it's also about taking the speaker to the next level. So be kind is the only advice I can give you when you are confronted with a bad speech.
Got it. Thanks. What do you do in a scenario when you forget your script?
Could I take this one? So,
Yes.
a year ago, and not this DTAC, the DTAC before, on the morning of the division of the district, some days right? It's not your precise morning. So while I was seated for the judging ballots to be drawn, I had some sixth sense that I was going to draw speaker number 1. So as you know, in evaluation, if you are speaker number 1, then what happens is you lack the time in the isolation room. And just like it was speaker number 1. I said, okay, fine, I will write down the notes. The sergeant at arms was a new gentleman. He took away my notes, forgetting that speaker number 1's notes need not be taken away because he's going to speak immediately. And then he also conveniently forgot to return the notes to me. So in case you forget your notes, just focus on 2 things, your analysis and your recommendation. Now, you might be evaluating on that one day, but you have been a Toastmaster for 365 days of that year. So any good speech has to have an opening, a body, a conclusion, transitions. You would remember that. And then 2 helpful recommendations. That way you have 5 things to mention in your speech, actually 6 things to mention in your speech. And with that, you should easily be able to cover 3.5 minutes. Because evaluation is not necessarily only a speech, it is an attitude. If you are interested in evaluations, you would evaluate table topics, you would evaluate the international speech, you would evaluate other evaluators. If you are really bored, evaluate the presidential address as well. So good speeches don't only come from the international speech contest or from the education session. The Sergeant at Arms welcome address could possibly be the best speech of that particular meeting, or a guest's introduction could be fabulous. So you might pick up a nugget of information from somewhere, file all of that away, because in that 3 minutes and 29 seconds, you never know what could be helpful. And I always tell people, if you do what everybody does, you will get what everybody gets. So if you are able to change something, deliver something unique, that's where your evaluation, as with any speech, would really stand out. Back to you.
Wonderful. Thanks. We'll take the last question since there's paucity of time. It's to Toastmaster Nikhil. Can you give an example of starting the evaluation speech by a takeaway?
Okay. So
do you mean takeaway is on the moral of the speech or a message the speaker is trying to communicate?
Okay. So it is the message which the speaker is trying to emulate. So one of the best speeches which I have seen with a fabulous use of prop is Daniel Day's speech on Outlast, Outsmart, 2017 winner. If you have seen that speech and if you remember that speech, he comes, he wears this white underwear over his suit and everything. And if I want to start an evaluation for that speech, I would say something about bravery. Bravery is when you are able to face your own fears and conquer them. That would be my takeaway from the speech, and this is how I will start. Okay, if I am evaluating, say, Dhananjay Hitarati's speech, I would say that the key message in the speech continuously resonates is that I see something in you, but I do not know what it is. So my key takeaway will be there is potential in everyone, each one of us. And there are few people who are close to us who will invest time and effort to look at us. And it's our job to learn from these people. That is my takeaway. So when I add a takeaway right in the first 10 or 15 seconds of my evaluation, it helps capture the entire essence. And I've seen this happen in action. Like if you do this kind of thing, you see the speaker nodding, and sometimes your friends, they will also nod, and you get a sense that you're moving in the right direction. But a single speech may have multiple takeaways. So you need to be very, very astute and very, very careful about, are you able to hit the right number? Because most of the time we slide all the speeches under, this was a motivational speech, this was an inspirational speech, and it goes on around that. I'll give you another example. Last year's contest winner, Sanjay, in Pune, did this fabulous opening of his evaluation. And instead of putting a takeaway or something, he gave two takeaways. He was like, if this speech is to inspire, to convince somebody, you have done a fabulous job. This is his first sentence of his evaluation. However, if you want to motivate and inspire people to do more, you will have to do something. So such a powerful opening. He differentiated that this was not motivational yet. And if you look at it, this is the first or second sentence of his speech. There is no CRC. He's delivering bad news also. Like, boss, I was not inspired, I was not motivated. But you are persuading and you're trying to influence me a lot. But it's still not at the level of the influence in it. So these are some of the ways wherein you can start your evaluations. And again, you see such techniques, steal with pride. Just take it away with you. It's yours. They have offered it to you.
Great, great. Thank you. I think Toastmaster Priya, it wouldn't be fair if I don't put one question for you before we end it. So the question which has come in is, should you as an evaluator separate your emotions about the speech or the speaker from the evaluation of the speech? As an evaluator, do we separate the emotions about the speech or a speaker, or we incorporate in our evaluation?
I think you can incorporate the emotions that you feel from the speaker, the vibes that you're getting from the speech, and use it as a leverage in your evaluation, because you never know that other people in the audience might not be feeling the same thing. And if a speech or a speaker is able to communicate that emotion to you, then it just means how effective that speech was in making sure that you understand the emotional resonance of it. So you should always use that as a plus point, and you can use it in order to make that evaluation your own, so that when somebody remembers your evaluation, they are going to remember not just with the words that you're using, but the feelings and the emotions that speech made you feel, which you in turn as an evaluator communicated to the whole audience.
Thanks a lot. So go with the emotions, right? That's the way. I thank all the three panelists, Toastmaster Priya, distinguished Toastmaster Hisham, Toastmaster Nikhil, for this wonderful, breathtaking session. I'm sure all the Toastmasters here have really got tremendous insights on how to go about doing a evaluation in a contest. So with this, I'll request to present the certificate for Toastmaster Priya for being the panelist for today. Can I request the certificate be displayed? Toastmaster Kavita, may I request you? Thanks a lot, Kavita. Can you change the name, please? We have Toastmaster Priya. Priya, thanks a ton. Really appreciate your time with all of us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here and I enjoyed the session a lot. I also have some takeaways that I'm going to take back home from DTM Hisam and Toastmaster Nikhil. Thank you so much.
Thanks. It's been our pleasure. Distinguished Toastmaster Hisham. Thanks a lot for your valuable insights and experience.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure to be at District 98. Thank you for reaching out. And it has been a really pleasant 1 hour. And I've enjoyed my time with my fellow panelists. And I've really been impressed with the way that you have organized and presented these workshops as well. Thank you for having me. It was a real blessing and I will remember this event for a long time to come. Thank you and all the best.
Thanks. I think it goes the same for all of us who are listening to you, Bishop. We will remember this session for a very long time. And finally, to our very own Toastmaster Nikhil. Can we display the certificate for Toastmaster Nikhil Halvalkar? Yes.
Thanks a lot, everybody who tried to get this together and people who took out time to learn about some evaluation tips. I have learned a lot from others and it felt nice giving this back. And I really appreciated the way this entire session was conducted. And Falgunan, I would really appreciated the way after every input we gave, you tried to summarize in your words, put a key takeaway. Fabulous job. There you go. I just evaluated you right now.
It's a complete pleasure. It's my good fortune that I have been able to listen and ask questions to all such 3 distinguished panelists and expert Toastmasters. Yeah, so very happy. And with that happiness came everything, what you have seen. So thanks a lot once again to all the 3 panelists. I end with a powerful quote by Muhammad Ali. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. And I think all the 3 panelists have shown it in their actions. Thanks a lot once again. And with that, I hand over the stage back to Toastmaster Kavita Kannan. Toastmaster Kavita Kannan, over to you.